My boyfriend has a non-biological sister who was diagnosed with a serious illness. He begged me to sell the house that was just obtained from the demolition and use the money to treat her. It's a matter of life and death. Can you help her just this once? His words didn't move me at all. Remembering the scene where he secretly kissed the so-called sister just now, I only felt disgusted. We received 5 houses from the demolition. Not long after, my boyfriend gave up the opportunity to be recommended for postgraduate studies at Tsinghua University and found a job locally, saying that he didn't want to be in a long-distance relationship anymore. Today is the first night of our cohabitation. As soon as the door closed, Sam pressed down on my wrist and kissed me all the way down from my earlobe. In a trance, I suddenly remembered what my best friend asked me a few days ago. Do you still remember Stella, Sam's non-biological sister? I heard that she was diagnosed with a serious illness not long ago. The treatment cost should not be a small amount. You two have been in a long-distance relationship for 3 years, and he has never said that he would come here to develop. As soon as your family's house is demolished, he comes over? He even has to give up the opportunity to be recommended for postgraduate studies at Tsinghua University. That's Tsinghua. In the end, I couldn't hold back. When his hand was on my waist, I called him, Sam. Why did you suddenly give up on being recommended for postgraduate studies? Sam paused slightly, looked up at me, and said word by word, Zoe, I'm not after your money. What about Stella? What does it have to do with her? Sam's voice lowered, obviously unhappy. Looking at his gloomy eyes, I felt a trace of uneasiness in my heart. Once I secretly went to Beijing to find Sam, originally wanting to give him a surprise. Unexpectedly, downstairs in his dormitory, I saw Stella hug him from behind. Are you with her just to make me jealous? Of course not. Sam quickly pushed her away. What can you compare with her? At that time, I was very shocked. Stella actually had such thoughts about him. But fortunately, Sam seemed very repulsed. Wife. Sam quietly leaned over and used practical actions to end this topic. We've been in a long-distance relationship for so long. You must miss me a lot too, right? His voice passed by my ear, carrying a vague hint, soft and alluring. He has never been like this to me. In 3 years of dating, we have never crossed the line. He said that kind of thing can only be done after marriage. My whole body suddenly felt itchy like an electric shock, and my thoughts were directly disrupted. The atmosphere was just right, and I subconsciously asked again, how much does Stella's surgery cost? Zoe, I'll say it again. I'm not after your money. Giving up on being recommended for postgraduate studies is because I negotiated a project with a local company. They promised to give me 5% of the equity. After the project is completed, I will continue my postgraduate studies. Sam looked down at me. His expression and tone were very calm. But there is one thing. From beginning to end, he has been deliberately avoiding topics related to Stella. I still wanted to say something, but his kiss suddenly fell. It's so good. Zoe, all your first times are given to me. Hearing his faint laughter, my face flushed red, and I casually retorted, aren't you the same? Sam obviously froze for a moment. Sam's phone rang untimely. It was Stella. As soon as the call was connected, Stella's loud crying came from the other end. Brother, I'm in so much pain. Do you think I will die? Can you come and accompany me? Sam hung up abruptly. The warm yellow halo of the bedside lamp extended to his lowered eyelashes. His quiet appearance made me panic. Are you going to the hospital? He suddenly pulled me into his arms and kissed the top of my head. No. I'll be here all the time. Go to sleep. In the latter half of the night, it seemed to rain heavily. I was awakened by thunder. Instinctively, I turned over to look for Sam. There was no one beside me. Not only in the bedroom, but I searched the whole house and couldn't find him. Sam wasn't at home. I sat on the sofa all night. During this period, I called Sam's phone countless times. No one answered. My emotions suddenly became extremely agitated and I kept calling. The 10th time, the phone rang once and then was hung up by the other side. I woke up on the sofa the next day. The sky was still dimly lit, and there was a thin blanket on me. The sound of running water came from the bathroom in the master bedroom. It should be that Sam is back and taking a shower. Stepping on unsteady feet and walking towards the bedroom, I needed an explanation from him. The light was on inside, and the door was ajar. I saw a side face that wasn't very familiar. It was actually Stella. She was seriously sorting out Sam's just taken off clothes on the bed without any hesitation. Blue tie, white shirt, black trousers. Even the most private, dark blue boxer briefs. Her movements were extremely skillful, as if she had done this countless times. Stella, bring me my clothes. Sam's voice came from the bathroom. Stella skillfully took out a new pair of boxer briefs from the closet and handed them over through the crack of the bathroom door. Sam also naturally took them. This scene stunned me directly. I didn't even notice when Stella walked over. Did you sleep well on the sofa? I'm really sorry. Just now my brother was originally going to carry you to bed to sleep. But who would have thought that I happened to be unwell? My brother loves me and so. She deliberately paused and then let out a light tut. I have to say, my brother's bed is really soft. Put away your thoughts. I interrupted her coldly. Sam will explain this matter to me. You don't need to add fuel to the fire. Although I said that, I couldn't help but recall the scene just now in my mind. This doesn't look like siblings. It's more like lovers. Sorting out personal clothes is something a girlfriend would do. You, as a sister, don't need to interfere. Girlfriend? Don't you think my brother really loves you? I heard that you had a crush on my brother for many years? She looked at me with that contemptuous look. I looked at her, very shocked. This has always been my secret. How does she know? When we were in school, Sam was quite famous. Good looking and with good grades, just a bit cold. We sat at the same table. I secretly liked him for several years but didn't dare to confess. During the winter vacation of our freshman year, at an old classmate gathering, very suddenly, Sam confessed to me, and we naturally got together. I heard that Sam's father got remarried that year too. Of course my brother told me. She seemed to see through my thoughts at a glance and smiled very proudly. I stood there stunned, almost being overwhelmed by a huge sense of shame. Stella still wouldn't let me go. Her tone was very arrogant. In order to raise money for my surgery, my brother is even willing to give up being recommended for postgraduate studies at Tsinghua University. So what if you are his girlfriend? In his heart, can you compare with me? That's not right. He has never touched you, right? What kind of girlfriend is that? Do you know what he and I enough? Not wanting to listen, I turned and left. Stella grabbed me and wouldn't let me go. Why, are you afraid to listen now? I shook her off forcefully. A painful muffled groan came from behind. Stella fell to the ground in a mess. Her messy long hair covered half of her face, and her lips were pale. This scene was just seen by Sam, who had just come out of the bathroom. I clearly felt the coldness in his eyes. He came over, firmly grabbed my arm, and pulled me forward. She is just a patient. Why are you fussing over her? My arm was pinched so painfully that Sam didn't seem to notice at all. He was full of anger. Brother? Sam immediately shook me off. I covered my arm and staggered a few steps. I watched him pick up Stella horizontally and hurriedly walk out of the bedroom. Sam didn't come back all day. I heard that in the evening, Stella suddenly vomited blood in large mouthfuls without warning and was sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. When I rushed over, Sam was standing straight at the door of the operating room. Next to him, Stella's mother was covering her face and crying, "Sam." I called him. He stood still as if he didn't hear. A few minutes later, the door of the operating room opened, and a nurse hurried out. "We've run out of backup blood. Is anyone here type B blood?" Stella's mother almost fainted when she heard this. "Neither I nor he is." Sam turned to look at me. "Zoe, you are type B blood. I have anemia. Have you forgotten?" I asked him. People with severe anemia are not suitable for blood transfusion as there is a risk of inducing myocardial infarction and cerebral infarction. Sam knows this. In the past, when he found out that I had anemia, Sam also asked with concern, "Why didn't you tell me that your anemia is so serious?" He said, "Zoe, I will slowly get to know you bit by bit in the future." At that moment, his guilt and pity were real. But now, he even forgot that I had anemia. After being reminded by me, not only did he not feel a bit guilty, but his tone also became impatient. "You need to distinguish what's more important. I won't joke with my life," I replied firmly. "If you hadn't pushed her this morning, how could she have suddenly fallen ill?" He spoke with reproach. "That's because she." Before I could finish speaking, Sam coldly interrupted me. "Zoe, people need to be responsible for their actions." Looking at his calm and composed face, I couldn't tell if I was angry or sad. During the stalemate, another nurse ran over and said that backup blood was found in the blood bank again. The operating room light came on again. Until the end of the operation, Sam and I didn't say another word. After hearing the doctor say that Stella was out of danger, I left. Back at Sam's house, I started packing. There was a newly decorated house among the ones obtained from the demolition. I planned to move there. After contacting the moving company and making an appointment for the moving time, it was already late at night. Suddenly, I received a friend request from Stella. Tell you something? After hesitating for a few seconds, I accepted it. Stella immediately sent a message. That fall was on purpose. Before I could react, she quickly withdrew the message. And then sent another message. With your intelligence, you probably didn't have time to take a screenshot, right? I admit. At this moment, I was really disgusted by this person. Betting on a man's pity with your own life. Your intelligence is really high. At least 250. After sending this message, I blocked her, but the resentment in my heart couldn't be swallowed. In the past, I always thought it was Stella's one-sided show. After all, Sam had always been very cold to her. Now think about it. Where does Stella's arrogance and certainty every time she faces me come from? Does Sam really only regard her as a sister? The phone suddenly rang. It was Sam's call. I stared at the screen and didn't answer. Sam didn't call again. I don't know how long it had passed. The sound of the keypad on the password lock came from outside the door. Then Sam pushed the door and came in. He looked slightly uncomfortable. He tugged at his tie and unbuttoned the button at his neck. Why didn't you answer my call? I didn't want to talk to him. I'll sleep on the sofa tonight. I'll move out early tomorrow morning. Still angry? He came over and asked, your good sister is still lying in the hospital. You don't need to care whether a stranger is angry or not. I looked at him. You need to distinguish what's more important. Sam's face changed, obviously. He remembered something. What I did just now was wrong. I shouldn't have asked you to donate blood. He paused. At that time, it was an emergency. It was a matter of life and death. I thought you could understand. I sneered. If my friend is sick and you have severe anemia, and I ask you to donate blood to him, can you understand? Zoe, can't you talk to me nicely? He looked a bit impatient. Stella is my sister, not an ordinary friend. Sister? Do you really just treat her as a sister? Last night when she called, you promised me not to leave, but you ran to find her while I was asleep? And then, why did you bring her home? I took a deep breath. She said that you told her about my secret crush on you, and also said that between you two I couldn't say the rest. It was quite disgusting. If you don't like me, why did you take the initiative to confess to me in the first place? Actually, there was already a faint guess in my heart. Perhaps, he was deceiving me from the very beginning. I am just a substitute for his secret love for another person that cannot be made public. After a while of silence, I said, let's break up. I don't agree. Sam's eyes were deep. Zoe, I really wanted to be with you at the beginning. After Stella's mother divorced my dad, the mother and daughter had a very hard time. After all, we were once a family. She was diagnosed with a serious illness. I can't just ignore it. He lit a cigarette. The whole person looked a bit gloomy. After you fell asleep last night, her mother called again and said that she was making a fuss about jumping off a building. I had no choice but to rush over. Later, she insisted on following me back. Her mother begged me to indulge her these days. At least until she had the operation. I agreed. The cigarette between his fingers seemed to be about to burn to the end. He didn't notice. I didn't tell her about the secret crush at all. I don't know how she found out. The most likely possibility is that she peeked at our previous chat records last night. Zoe. Nothing happened between me and her. Believe me. After a long silence, I asked him back. No matter what your relationship is, I can't pretend that nothing happened. Why do you think that I have to accept immediately after your apology and then endlessly tolerate your endless entanglement with her? Just because you are sure that I like you more? For so many years, I have been silently following in his footsteps. He got the first place in exams. I tried my best to get the second place just to make him remember me. I am very clear that he doesn't like me as much as I like him. So what? I can accept that his love for me is weak, but I can't accept that he has no principles and no bottom line in favoring others. We may not be suitable. I wiped my tears hard and looked into the distance. If Sam was about to say something else when the phone rang. It's from the hospital. She has relapsed again and needs an operation immediately. Her mother is not in the hospital now. Another guardian is needed to sign. After hesitating for a moment, Sam picked up his coat and walked towards the door. I'll be back soon. I didn't sleep very well this night. I had many dreams in a row. For a while, I dreamed that Sam confessed to me at a party. He came over with a faint smile and asked if we could kiss. The scene changed. I dreamed that Stella ran away crying after being rejected by Sam. Sam looked at her back in a daze. He didn't even notice me approaching. When I woke up the next day, I just felt dizzy, my nose was very stuffy, and I had no strength all over. It should be that I sat on the sofa for too long last night and caught a cold. Sam didn't come back all night. I changed the time with the moving company to the afternoon. I took a taxi alone and went to the hospital for an infusion. When I was going to the toilet with the hanging bottle, the nurse saw that I was in a very difficult situation. While helping me hold the hanging bottle, she asked, "Did you come for an infusion alone?" I was stunned for a moment. "You have such a serious cold. There are many inconveniences when you are alone." After that, the nurse poured me a cup of hot water. "You can call me if you need anything later." After 3 hours of infusion, when I pressed the elevator to go downstairs, I suddenly received a bank card deduction message. This bank card is a joint card that Sam and I opened in junior year. The money in it is our wedding fund. That day, I rented out the demolished house. The card number given at that time was this one. The tenant just called me last night and sent $300,000 in rent. Now, the bank card balance shows zero. Bit by bit of coldness welled up. I went directly to the floor where Stella's ward was located. I think that was the most disgusting scene I have ever seen in my life. In the quiet ward, the door was ajar. Sam leaned over and pressed his lips on Stella's lips on the bed. Stella seemed to still be in a coma. It could be seen that Sam's movements were very careful, for fear of waking up the person on the bed. Just when I was about to leave, a hand climbed onto his neck. Stella suddenly woke up and kissed him back. Then I saw that Sam pulled her into his arms, let her straddle him face to face, inserted one hand into her hair, and lowered his head to deepen the kiss. This scene made my scalp tingle. My head was buzzing and blank. I almost couldn't stand still. Fortunately, a passing doctor supported me. "Be careful." A slightly deep voice sounded above my head. I came to my senses and said slowly, "Thank you." The voice was not loud, but it was still heard by the people in the ward who were kissing as if no one else was around. Sam froze. Almost instantly, he pushed Stella away violently. The moment he turned around, I clearly saw the helplessness and fear in his eyes. "Zoe." He staggered over and grabbed my hand. With a slap, I slapped him hard across the face. "Don't touch me." I wiped my hand hard and looked at him coldly and extremely disgustedly. "You make me sick." His face instantly turned pale. I tried to calm down my emotions and didn't want to waste words with him. "Where's the money in the card?" He hurriedly explained. "Zoe, you misunderstood. I never thought of touching our wedding fund." "Misunderstanding? Didn't you take the money?" "I took it. Stella's illness urgently needs an operation." Enough. Even though I was mentally prepared, when I heard him admit it personally, I was still very shocked. It felt like a dream. Some time ago, Sam suddenly put $200,000 into that card, saying it was for our wedding fund. So, when signing the rental contract, I didn't think much about it and let the tenant transfer $300,000 in rent into that card. But now, a full $500,000. Without even consulting me, he directly took it to treat Stella's illness. I was even thinking that when he suddenly put in that $200,000 at that time, was it to make me let down my guard and use a long line to catch a big fish? "Why did you suddenly put $200,000 into the card at that time?" I stared at him. Sam was stunned. As if he understood something, a trace of hurt flashed in his eyes. "At that time, I negotiated two conditions with the company. One was to give $200,000 as soon as I signed the contract. The other was to give me 5% of the company's equity after completing the project." He paused. His voice was hoarse. "Zoe, I am not a fraudster." I looked at him speechlessly. "I don't care how you deal with your own money, but you must return my $300,000 to me immediately. Otherwise, I will call the police." "Hey, why are you so uncompassionate?" Stella walked over while supporting the bed rail. She looked very unhappy. "It's not that we won't pay you back. Do you have to be so aggressive?" I looked at her expressionlessly. I took out my mobile phone and dialed 110. Just as I was about to enter the last digit, with a snap, my mobile phone was knocked away and fell to the ground. "Zoe." Sam stared blankly at his own hand. I picked up the mobile phone and checked. It wasn't broken. At this time, Sam's voice had already become hoarse and changed its tone. "I know that nothing can be done now. But I really didn't mean to touch that money. When I rushed to the hospital last night, I only then found out that Stella's surgical fee had been cheated. Stella's mother was also taken to the police station to make a statement. We waited for the police's news for almost the whole night. But the operation really couldn't wait. So you took my money without permission first? I was afraid that you wouldn't agree. You hate Stella so much. I hate you even more than her. I sneered. Since you two love each other and are not biological siblings, just be locked together. Why did you come to provoke me? It's not like that. Sam's lips trembled. I really didn't think about being with her. I just think she is very pitiful. As soon as this sentence was said, Stella's face instantly turned pale. She was full of disbelief. The way you pity a person is to kiss her? Sam explained blankly. I don't know what's wrong with me. As soon as I think that she will have an operation later and the success rate is only 50%, I just. Zoe, it was just an accident just now. He stubbornly explained, but the more he said, the weaker he became. Looking at that familiar and unfamiliar face, my stomach churned. A hand next to me handed over a glass of water. I drank it without hesitation. Only then was that disgusting feeling barely suppressed. When I looked up, I found that the person who handed me the water was the young doctor who had supported me just now. Sorry, I really can't help but want to interject. He looked at Sam. His distinct knuckles supported the frame of his glasses. If it was an accident just now, then what about last night? Sam's eyes sank instantly. He stared at him obscurely. He seemed to be completely unaware. His expression looked a bit disgusted. Last night when I was on duty and passed by, I happened to see you holding your sister. It should be comforting, but how come when comforting, the two mouths kiss together? TSK, are your mouths magnets with their own adsorption function? Sam's face turned deathly pale. He was silent for a long time before he said. If within 2 days, if the money that Stella's mother was cheated can't be recovered, I will make up that 300,000 for them. Why should I believe you? Sam took out his mobile phone and called while lowering his head. I will raise the money now. I was not moved at all. I sent him the card number of another personal bank card. Transfer the money to this card. Hurry up. His fingers holding the mobile phone trembled slightly. Okay. In the next few hours, I watched Sam call everyone in his address book. He has a proud nature. He has been held in the palm of others since he was a child. There are very few times when he asks for help. Especially asking for help for money. 300,000 is not a small amount. In a few hours, only a little over 50,000 was raised, which is still a drop in the bucket. Moreover, he also received a lot of veiled sarcasm and ridicule. I watched calmly without a single ripple in my heart. On the contrary, Stella beside him was extremely distressed. She desperately snatched Sam's mobile phone and didn't let him continue to call. Brother, I don't want you to do this. She is doing it on purpose, deliberately humiliating you. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, as if thinking of something. That company didn't promise you 5% of the equity? Wouldn't it be fine if you exchanged it for 300,000 with them? As soon as these words were said, everyone fell silent. Stella looked at Sam with an expression of I am really a little genius. Sam looked at her subtly. It was indeed subtle. If it were me, I would also be subtle. From a long-term perspective, the value of 5% of equity is much higher than 300,000. If the company can go public in the future, it is possible to increase tenfold or even 100-fold. So, does Stella really have an IQ of 250? Just when I thought Sam would find an excuse to refuse, or continue to borrow money from others, or even beg me to extend the deadline, he agreed. This is indeed the fastest way. After saying that, he looked at me with complicated emotions. His lips moved, but he didn't say anything. I was surprised for a moment, but only for a moment. Perhaps he was impulsive, or perhaps he wanted to prove that he really didn't want my money. But now, it's not something I need to consider anymore. Sam's negotiation with his company went very smoothly and the other party agreed to exchange it for 500,000 for him. Almost in the evening, when I was eating wontons near the hospital. When I was checking out, I received a transfer message. 300,000, not a penny less. And there were 2 words, sorry. After moving, for a long time, I didn't see Sam again. On the contrary, he did come to find me. One day, he stood downstairs at my company all day. The people coming in and out of the gate and the security guards all looked at him sideways. Then I called the police. After my best friend knew about this, she teased. He only stood for 1 day. I always feel that you are because you couldn't send him to jail last time and feel regretful so. Before she finished speaking, I stuffed an orange segment into her mouth. Of course not. I continued to peel the orange without changing my expression. Cutting off any possibility from the very beginning is much more effective than taking action after being harassed for several days, isn't it? The rich woman doesn't admit it. The rich woman has no vindictiveness. Half a year passed in a flash. During the National Day holiday, I went on a trip to relax with my best friend. When soaking in the hot spring, my best friend casually mentioned, "Stella's illness relapsed again." I calmly said, "Oh." My best friend stretched and clicked her tongue. "She is now a bottomless pit. Sam will be dragged down to death by her sooner or later." I closed my eyes and felt the water temperature, neither affirming nor denying. These two people, no matter what happens, have nothing to do with me anymore. Back at the hotel, I received a strange text message. "Do you have 5 sweets? Can you sell one to treat her illness?" Before I could react, another message came from there. "Zoe, it's a matter of life and death. Can you help her?" Although I immediately blacklisted this number, I was still inexplicably surprised. Judging from this tone, it seems that it was sent by Sam. But I always feel that only Stella's IQ can do such a thing. This little episode didn't affect me at all. I threw myself into this trip wholeheartedly. On the way, I happened to meet a colleague of mine named Zhang Wenze. He was transferred from the headquarters half a year ago and is responsible for the same project as me. He is meticulous in his work. In private, he is gentle and refined. Many little girls in the company have a crush on him. To my surprise, he is quite familiar with Yunnan and took us to many interesting places. After this trip, my best friend was very satisfied with him. Several times, she secretly whispered to me, "This person is good. You can give it a try." Seeing that I didn't speak, my best friend tickled me. "You are pretending to be stupid again. Don't tell me you didn't see that he is interested in you." I dodged with a smile and glanced at Zhang Wenze not far away. He stood by the sea, looking at me with clear eyes and an indescribable look. After a 5-day and 4-night trip, Zhang Wenze sent my best friend back first and then me. Unexpectedly, I saw Sam downstairs at my house. He was standing by the car, with a cigarette between his fingers. The street lamp was cold and white, covering his head and making him look a bit lonely. After not seeing him for half a year, he has really lost a lot of weight. Sam looked at us with deep eyes. Zhang Wenze smiled thoughtfully, his eyes gentle. After a while, Sam asked in a hoarse voice, "Who is he?" I was too lazy to answer and said coldly, "Did you come because of those 2 text messages?" "Yes." Sam took a step forward. His expression was slightly awkward. "I didn't send it. Don't misunderstand." I understood. "It was sent by Stella, right?" Sam was silent for 2 seconds and said, Her illness relapsed twice in the past 6 months. Her mother decided not to treat her anymore and take her back to the countryside. She didn't agree and accidentally hit her head. Now she is sometimes awake and sometimes not." "Zoe, I have thought a lot in the past 6 months. Stella was my nominal sister. I had a special feeling for her. When unsure if it was love, ethics made me escape. After being with you, my eyes stayed on you. I got used to kissing you at the station and watching you hug me downstairs in the dormitory. I enjoy being with you more and more. After my dad divorced Stella's mother, Stella confessed to me. But I didn't feel anything. I didn't want to be separated from you. Until she got seriously ill. I kissed her twice. Zoe, I love you." His Adam's apple rolled. His eyes were reddish. "I'm sorry this sentence is so many years late." I listened calmly. "Is there anything else? If not, leave." Sam stood still. "Zoe, I want to see you." His eyes were tightly fixed on me. "For half a year, I really miss you very much." I took out my mobile phone and started dialing. "I think you want to see the police more." Just as I pressed the 1 key, suddenly I heard Sam shout my name loudly. Suddenly, it was pitch black in front of me. My body was hugged tightly by a cold embrace, and then I fell down uncontrollably. Sam let out a muffled groan. Then, with a bang, a clear cracking sound rang in my ears, startling me to turn my head to look. The succulent potted plant on the ground was smashed to pieces. It was very small. It should have been blown down from upstairs by the strong wind just now because the wind was too strong. "Are you okay?" Zhang Wenze heard the sound and hurried over. He quickly helped me up from Sam and looked worriedly at my arm accidentally scratched by the pot fragments. "There is a convenience store over there. I'll go buy a band-aid." After he left, Sam slowly got up. Under the moonlight, a conspicuous bloodstain on his forehead followed the curve of his cheek down to his chin. Because he was protecting me, there were also many abrasions on his elbow. He seemed to be completely unaware. He fumbled in his pocket and took out a band-aid. He carefully handed it to me. Zoe. Looking at the band-aid in his palm, I was in a trance for a moment. In the evening self-study session in Senior 2, I was sent to clean the Science and Education building. Carrying a bucket and almost reaching the 4th floor, I fell heavily. My knee was also bleeding. At that time, the mock exam results had just been released. I didn't do well in the exam. With this fall, my emotions immediately surged. I hugged my knee and cried. Suddenly, Sam's cold voice sounded beside my ear. Why are you crying? I wasn't familiar with Sam at that time and didn't dare to answer. After he left, I raised my head. Then I found a band-aid placed beside me. After being with Sam, I told him about this. At that time, he smiled. His chin rested on my shoulder socket. In a low voice. It turns out that my wife likes me because of this reason. Then I will have to carry a band-aid with me often in the future. Obviously, he was just saying it casually. Even after I mentioned it once, he looked blank. Unexpectedly, after we separated, he often carried it with him. Zoe. My thoughts were pulled back by Zhang Wen's voice. I took the band-aid from his hand and looked at Sam calmly. Thank you, but I don't need it now. Watching his face turn pale little by little, I sighed softly. But my tone was extremely firm. I once liked you. I don't deny this past. But now, I don't love you anymore. I don't want either the band-aid or you. 9. Epilogue. That day, in order to make Sam completely give up, I secretly sent a WeChat message to Zhang Wenze, asking him to follow me upstairs in front of Sam. Of course, we both knew that this was acting. So in fact, we just stayed in the reception hall on the 1st floor for a few hours. Zhang Wenze was reading a book with his head down. His slender fingers flipped the pages one by one. Suddenly, he smiled. I finally understand. You don't have any feelings for me at all. After careful consideration, until I found that there was only teasing and no anger in his tone, I was slightly relieved. I took his words. How so? If you had even a little bit of thought for me, you wouldn't ask me to follow you upstairs just to make him give up. He raised his head and looked at me. The corners of his lips curved slightly. When treating someone you like, it should be pure liking and unconscious sincerity. Sorry, I only regard you as a colleague. Okay, good colleague. Zhang Wenze adapted to this identity very quickly. He stared at me for a long time. Lowered his eyes. Smiled gently. I'm leaving. Zoe, good night. Later I learned that when Zhang Wenze said he was leaving, he meant being transferred back to the headquarters in Beijing. Sam also seemed to have returned to Beijing. Stella still occasionally sent me some messy text messages, all related to money. But from one day on, she never sent any more. Life still goes on. Under the introduction of my family, I met a doctor through a blind date. On the day we met, both of us were stunned for a moment. Then, we couldn't help laughing. His name is He Jiang'an. We had met once before. He helped me confront Sam in the hospital that day. The sentence, "Are your mouths magnets?" is still fresh in my memory. After 2 years of dating, we got married. On the day of the wedding, I received 2 anonymous envelopes from Beijing. In one of the envelopes was a large sum of money. On the note was a familiar handwriting, "Zoe, happy wedding." In the other envelope was a high school graduation photo. The name circled was a boy named Li Wenze. Tall and thin. With long eyes. It seems to be 7 or 8 points similar to Zhang Wenze now. In the photo, he pursed his lips and didn't look at the camera. He silently looked at a place. To be precise, he was looking at a girl in the lower right corner. Looking at me. Me in high school. Li Wenze. Zhang Wenze. Everything is clear. It turns out that when I was looking up and chasing after Sam, there was also such a person silently chasing after me. In a daze, I heard my husband's gentle voice. Wife, come over quickly and toast together. I slowly raised my head. The sun was just right. The breeze was gentle. My husband stood there tall and straight. Sensing my gaze, he turned around. His eyebrows and eyes were full of smiles. I subconsciously returned him a smile. In the vast world, suffering, torment, and unrequited love follow everyone like a shadow, attacking everyone indiscriminately. But these will pass. I am now firmly running towards my own future. Here I come.